I just realized that there's another element to the Music Labs guitar learning system that you could probably start thinking about already, even though we're in lesson 1. We've covered a lot in lesson 1. And as we were talking about building chords from scale degrees using the 1, the 3, and the 5 from the scale degree, I thought maybe I should just quickly introduce something called the chord and lead generator. That's this guy. So we've got our circle of fifths dial, and again, you can use the chord and lead generator concept and a piece of paper to learn this theory. But, of course, this is a lot handier. So let's turn our dial, which is C underneath the 1 for C major. And we want to make a C major chord. We would use the 1, the 3, and the 5 because that is our 1 chord. All right? So you've done this enough times, you can get C, E, and G off the circle of fifths dial or writing it out from your scale. We don't need to go over that again. You know how to do it. So the 1, the 3, and the 5 makes the C major chord. Now if we're playing someone might, now this is going to be a little more advanced, but I know you've heard someone say this to you, or you've heard it at a jam session. So we're going to play a 1-4-5 chord progression, or a 1-6-2, whatever chord progression order they're going to do. Let's stick with the 1-4-5 chord progression. So I've put 1, 4, and 5 up here as chord progressions. Now, if you wanted to create the 4 chord, which is an F major, you take the 4th, the 6th, and the 1st scale degree from your scale. So the 4, the 6, and the 1, you remember when we drew those lines across the board? You take the 4, the 6, and the 1, put them together, and you have a chord. And now you're thinking, how the heck am I supposed to do that? You don't have to. Don't worry. It's all going to be laid on the fretboard escalator, and you're going to be able to just look down and find the 4, 6, and 1, and it's all going to come clear. You just have to trust me, stick with me on this, okay? So for now, what we can do is create a 4 chord out of some notes from the circle of fifths dial, just to prove how this works. The 4 chord is a major chord. It's supposed to be an F major chord. So let's take the 4, which is here, Roman numeral 4, F, and then the 6, Roman numeral 6, A, and then the 1, which is C, Roman numeral 1. So if you took F, A, and C and played those 3 notes together, you would have an F major chord. Boom, just like that. Same goes for the 5. Take your 5. What's it supposed to be? A G major chord. Let's build the G major chord from the scale degrees listed on the plates. 5, 7, 2. 5 is G, right? Then we have to find our 7 on the outside here, which is down here, and it's B, and then 2, which is D. G, B, D make up a G major chord. Now, I know you guys are all experts because you watched the advanced level 1 addendum, which meant that you know how minor chords work and how minor scales work, to build chords. Now to change from a major scale to a minor scale, as you recall, we flatten the 3rd, flatten the 6th, flatten the 7. If you don't recall that, go back and watch that video, or just drink your coffee because you'll get there. There's easier stuff than this coming up. You can handle this. But for the chord and lead generator, if we want to change this to a minor key, let's stick with the key of C. C minor. Now, just to prove we're right, as we recall, if you wanted to convert a C major chord to a C minor chord, you would flatten the 3. So a 1, 3, 5 is C, E, and G, right? For your 1, 3, 5, a C major chord. And we know if we want to make a C minor chord out of that, it's a 1 flat 3, 5. So we should be ending up with a C, E flat, G when we use the chord and lead generator by flipping it over. All right, so as you can see, all the Roman numerals are now changing to lowercase, meaning that we are now in a minor key. So remember, C, E flat, and G is what we should end up with when we rotate the key to C minor. We are now in the key of C minor. 1 flat 3, 5. You can see the 3s are flat, the 7s are flat, the 6s are flat, just like you did in the lesson where you created a minor scale. So in the minor chord and the key of C, minor chord, 1 flat 3, 5, what are we going to get? We got C, just like last time, And the 3 is E flat. Perfect. We did it. And then 5 is G. So it works. So I can keep on going and explain more about this, but that's for a later lesson. For now, you can kind of start to see the power of the system. All right, thanks again for watching yet another addendum to Lesson 1, where I think we've gone farther advanced than I had planned on going, but I really think you can do this. These concepts aren't that difficult to grasp. You've learned so much so far. You've learned how to create the major scale. You've learned how to create a minor scale. You've learned how to create chords from those scales. You know what intervals are. You know what steps and half steps are. You know what minor keys and major keys. You know what a relative minor key is now. Now, maybe you can't apply it, but you know it. You know the terminology. You've heard it. When someone tells you you're jamming in a key, you know what they're talking about. Someone tells you that you're going to, wait, why don't you play the relative? Now, that's probably getting too far. But you understand some of the things that you've probably heard musicians say for years, and you've always gone, too afraid to ask, right? Well, at least I was. So, all right, we will see you in the next lesson.